She stood in the kitchen, her paws shaking as she gripped the edge of the counter. The room smelled like burnt soup and worry. Her dress was stained from the day's chores, and her belly, round and full with their child, made her movements slower. But she smiled when she heard the front door open. "Welcome home," she said softly, wiping her paws on her dress and turning to greet him. But his face didn't light up like it used to. He looked her up and down with disgust. "The house is a mess," he snapped. "And what happened to you? You look like a disaster." Her heart sank. "I tried to clean up. I've been so tired lately. The baby—" He cut her off. "You're fat. You weren't like this when I married you." She bit her tongue, trying not to cry. This wasn't the cat she fell in love with. The one who used to kiss her forehead and bring her flowers for no reason. The one who promised he'd love her forever. He used to call her beautiful. Now he barely looked at her. "I don't even know who you are anymore. You're not the same. I'm going out." She reached for him. "Please, can we talk?" But he was already at the door. And that's when she knew. Something had changed. Or maybe he had just shown who he really was. He didn't come home that night. The next day, she saw him in the park, holding paws with someone else. A tall, sleek black cat with glossy fur and a red dress that hugged her figure. She looked perfect, like the ones in the magazines. He leaned in and kissed her. Her heart cracked. She waited at home, hoping maybe it was a misunderstanding, that maybe he was confused. Maybe the stress of the baby had made things hard for him too. Maybe he'd come home and say he was sorry. But when he did come home, it wasn't to apologize. "I found someone better," he said coldly. "You should have seen this coming." She couldn't believe her ears. "We're having a baby." He rolled his eyes. "That's your problem." Then he turned and walked out, dragging his suitcase behind him. She stood in the doorway until the wind carried away the scent of him, and then, finally, she cried. Not for him, but for the dreams they built together, for the night she stayed up making lists of baby names, for the life she thought they'd have. Now she had nothing. No money, no job, no home soon, and a baby on the way. She packed what little she could carry and left the house behind. The city was harsh. No one looked twice at a pregnant cat in torn clothes. She sat on a bench one night, hands on her belly, whispering promises to the little one inside. "I don't know how we'll make it, but I promise you, we will." A kind cafe owner noticed her one morning, curled up outside his door. "Do you need work?" he asked. She stood up quickly. "Yes, please, anything." He looked over her, hesitant, but something in her eyes made him nod. "Come inside." She cleaned tables, washed dishes, scrubbed floors. Her back ached, her feet were sore, but she never complained. Every coin she earned went into a jar she kept tucked in the back of her closet. She didn't spend a single cent on herself. Weeks passed, then months. She worked harder than anyone, and people noticed. Customers smiled at her, called her polite, said she made the cafe feel warm. The owner promoted her twice. She rented a small room, bought a bed, got clothes that didn't smell like the street. One morning, she looked in the mirror and saw someone new. Still tired, still hurting, but stronger. She touched her belly and smiled. "Almost there, baby." Then, one afternoon, while she was managing inventory in the back room, someone called her name. She turned around and froze. It was him. Her ex. He looked nothing like he did before. His shirt was wrinkled, fur unkempt, eyes hollow. "I didn't know you worked here," he said, shifting awkwardly. "I don't just work here," she replied calmly. "I manage this place." He blinked in surprise. "Wow, that's, unexpected." She crossed her arms. "What do you want?" "I need a job. Please. I lost everything. Lola left me, said I was too broke for her. I've been living in a shelter." A pause. "Please," he said again, "just help me get back on my feet." For a long moment, she said nothing. She looked at the same cat who once called her ugly, who abandoned her in the hardest time of her life. But she didn't feel anger. She felt peace. Because she had survived, she had rebuilt, and she no longer needed his approval or apology. She stepped forward and said gently, "You made your choice, and I made mine." Then she turned around and walked back to the front where her team was waiting, where her life was waiting. Later that evening, she rocked her newborn to sleep under soft light. The baby's tiny paw curled around her finger, and as the wind hummed through the trees outside the window, she whispered, "No one will ever hurt us again." And she meant it.